Hi, my name is Jordan Thorne and I am the Editorial Content Manager at LeadersIn. We're here in Vienna at BioEurope Spring 2019 and I'm joined here by Philip Hemme, the co-founder and CEO of Labiotech. Thank you so much for joining me. So Philip, will you tell me a little bit about your personal journey into creating Labiotech and how you got to be a CEO?
Yeah, sure. So I started 5 days after graduating and I was just an extremely curious student, very entrepreneurial, and I was just very frustrated on how you can read about the industry. And so I thought maybe some other people have the same frustration. And so I moved to Berlin, that was 4.5 years ago. And for 18 months, we were 23 at the time with my co-founder, we just worked, getting some traction, momentum, unpaid, trying to survive, and then raising a first round, helped us pay the first employees, paying ourselves, growing the business, raising another round. And now we're the biggest platform for the biotech industry in Europe. Wow. We have 11 full-time employees, 200,000 readers a month.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, now it's another, it's very different from the start, but sounds easier now.
How did you sort of come up with the idea?
The idea is really, I think, really at the ground is I'm extremely passionate about biotech. I can talk about it for ages, and I'm extremely curious. And so that's really where it started. And my co-founder is really, we have the same profile, and I'm very entrepreneurial. So my co-founder has the same profile. And so when you mix all that together, we really wanted to start something, and we were just very frustrated. And so as usually when you start a company, it's a good idea when you solve a personal frustration, because you likely have, if you have enough people having the same frustration, you can build a real business out of it, and that's what we did. Yeah.
So being in an industry that has a very high average age of a leader, what are some of the challenges that you see being a younger leader?
I mean, when we started, I was 21, 22. You approach people who were like 50s, 60s, a lot of experience, so it was really tough. But at the end, one key thing I figured out is just don't care about your age. Just ignore it completely. And some people will not ignore it, and they will still consider you a baby. I mean, I heard that yesterday, someone told me, you're not a baby anymore. I was like, glad to hear. But at the end, you just don't care. You do your job. If you're doing something valuable, some people will talk to you, and we talk with amazing leaders in the field, and they like what we do, and that's great. And at the end, just be confident in what you're doing. Ignore your age. I think it's similar also for diversity. Just ignore your race, your sex, whatever. Just do a good job, and you will have people talk to, and people will trust you.
Really interesting. And so, how do you manage senior teammates?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, luckily, as a founder, you have a legitimacy as you start a company and you have a good context. But then, I think it's really essential to build up your management skills and learn how do you manage those people. Obviously, and one really challenging thing I have actually at the moment is how do you bring in someone who has already a lot of experience and who has learned stuff, has learned good stuff, but also has learned some other habits which you might want to change. Or how do you make the person fit inside the culture of the company? And so that's really tricky. But at the end, you really need to take perspective, look at it, be extremely transparent with a person, and I think it's working really well actually. So, but you have to. I mean, you cannot work only with junior people. Yeah. So you need experienced people, and so if you want to grow your company, you need to manage other people. There's no choice. Yeah. And so I think as a founder, it's a skill that you need to develop, and then you need to apply it and you need to figure it out. Yeah. Obviously, you don't figure it out alone. True. But you need to figure it out.
When you're trying to build those skills, do you read books? Is it a mentor? Is it what do you do to try to make sure that you have those skills?
I read quite a lot of books. Usually I will pick one category and I will ask inspiring people and ask them what's your favorite book in that category, whether it's, I don't know, negotiation, whether it's public speaking, like just pick one category and then probably the books are 80% of my knowledge, but I think that the key in the books is really how do you extract the knowledge and execute it. I mean, reading about it and having the ideas, that's very easy, but then how do you properly execute it? And I have really steps. I read the book, I will highlight everything, summarize, make a to-do, add the to-do in my list for monthly, quarterly planning, like being very structured in it, and then really have time every week. I have 2 hours of call it personal R&D, fully developing and working on those skills. And yeah, that's, I think, books are really the main thing, and then I love good podcasts.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
What's maybe a good podcast? I'd love to know something.
On leadership, and actually I already recommended it to 5 people here at the event. It's The Knowledge Project,
Okay.
Farnham Street, with Shane Parrish, and he interviews top leaders on really like higher level skills and higher level really mindset, mental models.
Yeah.
And he really talks about what people have already figured out, and it's just amazing.
So I imagine that when you take this, you have to have, it's not only you learn, but then you have to have the kind of the confidence to then say, okay, I'm going to implement this now.
Yeah, I think more than confidence, you really need a system to implement. It's a bit like in a company. I mean, ideas are easy to have.
Yeah.
Then how do you execute it?
Exactly.
I mean, and that's what startups are good about, is how do you execute properly. And so I literally take everything we do inside the company and I apply it to myself. I run myself as a company, startup, project, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's at the end, and then you look at the same thing. Instead of looking at your business growth, you look at your personal growth and your learning curve.
Yeah.
And that's how you move forward.
So do you think that mentorship is something that's important? You haven't mentioned it yet, so I'm just curious to see if
mentorship
something you
is
value.
really it's really key. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, it's one of my mentors in Boston who got me started in the company, and I remember exactly. I had this meeting with him 6 months before graduating, and we already had the company as a side project. And I had this meeting, and I was looking for an internship in Boston to finish my master's thesis. And I talked with him, and he was literally asking me, "Why are you still studying? You already have a business." And I was like, it's actually pretty true. I still finished my internship, and then we started the company right away. And I think that's really the key thing about mentors, is really that they can give you different perspective, very honest feedback, and that's very hard to get actually otherwise. I mean, it's so much easier to be friendly with someone than giving him the honest feedback.
Yeah.
And that's what you need with a mentor. So I really work on that. I have like 4 or 5 mentors, different areas. Some are in biotech, some I'm in the media field, some are more in personal development. And I really, it's either for the strategy of the company or really like personal development, super honest feedback on personality assessment and what should I work on. And that's super helpful. Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that you could offer somebody who's aspiring to become a leader, and maybe they don't really understand how to go about that, but it's something that they kind of look to and hope to become?
I mean, I think what really the key thing is invest in yourself and invest long term. And so really develop yourself, develop your soft skills, develop your mental models, develop your productivity engine, develop all of that, because at the end, that will drive your learning curve, and that will automatically drive more success in your career, whatever you choose. And I think, we read books, but the time we actually spend in developing ourselves is usually the last thing we do on a Saturday or on the weekend, and we're tired and we don't really do it. And take it the opposite way. Like, what can you do with higher return investment than putting 2 hours in yourself when you have your biological prime time? And so that's what I do. It's Thursday morning, 2 hours, that's what I start. And I really work on myself. And at the end, it benefits the company, benefits me, it benefits investors, benefits everyone. So I think you can really do it at every level, from junior employee to founder to VP to whatever. And I meet a lot of people who could do much more. And I think at the end, it's really about, do you see the value of investing in yourself, and how much do you make it a priority over other things?
Yeah.
And I think the very hard thing about this is that investing in yourself is very long term. Reading a public speaking book, okay, if you have a conference, you can do that, but it's really a skill that you will develop over long term. Yeah. And so you have to really see the value long term. I think that's really key.
That's very interesting.
And so I focus a lot, even with my team. We do a lot of trainings with them. We focus a lot for them to develop. And from a team point of view, from a leader point of view, it's super inspiring for them. Not later than yesterday night, my business development manager told me, we really changed him.
Really?
Over 2 years, he's super thankful. And really on a soft skill level, not on a sales level, on a productivity engine, how he prioritizes his life. Now he has a music band, and it helps him a lot, and he's super thankful for it. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what you should do as leader. I think training is one of the big parts of what you should do.
Yeah.
And to be able to train someone, you better train yourself first.
I like that answer. And how important do you feel that tackling diversity issues are in business?
It's super important. I mean, it's a topic in biotech that is discussed a lot in tech in general. Yeah. I mean, I look at it like very rationally. I look really for the best people we can hire for the position, and then I look at it that I look at the return investment of diversity, and I think I really believe that will be the best way to solve it. Is really, do you see value in having a more diverse team, and how much value do you see in that? And then you can act. And so at the company, we have equal gender diversity. And why we do that is that we see the value of having equal gender diversity. And it brings a lot for the team dynamic, brings a lot for the team culture. And then we have a very international team. And it's the same thing. Why do you hire international? Because you want to have the benefits of each different culture. And when you mix that together, you keep the benefits, you remove the downsides. When you have 5 or how many people of the same nationality in the room, usually you overexpress the downsides. And so I think it's the same thing. Just hire diverse. I mean, we see it clearly. It's one of our focus. We're very diverse, and we see the value, and we will continue to do so. And on a higher level, I think that's a key. That's a key to success for a company, and the key to success to change diversity. Yeah.
Really, really great answer. And just to maybe finish off, how do you personally foster creative and innovative thinking within your organization? You might have touched on it a bit through some of your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think this training is definitely, I think, you can do like programs, you can bring in consultants, you can do workshops or whatever, but I think that's just a tactic.
Yeah.
You need to go the lower level, and the lower level is culture and mindset. And how do you fix that? And how do you bring people to be creative? How do you make an environment where people feel confident in being creative? How do you make an environment where people are confident in being wrong, of failing project? I mean, for example, one of our values is fail fast and learn from it. So I always tell my team, it's really good to do mistakes, just don't do them twice.
Yeah.
And so I think then how do you bring that mindset and this culture? I think it's one of your roles as leader to build that up. No one else will do it for you. I mean, you're in charge of building the culture of your organization at whatever size. And then it's your job to train people. And training is not just training on skills like how to write an email or how to write a newsletter. It's training on how to be creative, how to learn from your mistakes, how to learn. So we have trainings on that, and I think it's extremely important. And then, I think that's the key. And at the end, what I said, I think your team will see the value out of it. I mean, their personal development matters a lot to everyone. I think that I read a study was 50% the employees felt frustrated in the organization because they were not growing themselves.
Yeah.
So why not taking the problem the opposite way, seeing personal development as an opportunity to build the team, to bring benefits to the company, and then I think life is about prioritization. Once you answer the big why questions, set your priorities straight, then you can fix a lot of things.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been really great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.